News.
New information revealed about a sex offender on the run, where he might be headed.
I always go in the water, which always gets me icicle cold.
Summer could be closer to an extended spring this year. How low those temperatures just might go.
A tremendous change coming to your weather first forecast, a big-time warm-up, and then not so much. I've got it for you next.
A local company comes up with a creative way to give its employees the time they need to give back to the community.
Coming to you in high definition, this is Fox 9 News at 9.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us at 9. The search goes on for a missing level 3 sex offender 2 days after he disappeared from a halfway house.
Tonight, new information about Willie Johnson and his past has surfaced. And first on Fox 9, Tom Lydon is joining us now with the details and the latest on the search for Johnson.
Well, since our story last night, more than 50 tips coming in from around the country. Willie Johnson may be one of the older fugitives, but he's got two things on his side tonight: an old school street gang network and plenty of cash. Willie Johnson is on the run in style. Looking younger than 67, wearing a new suit and shades, this photo was taken Monday at a Stillwater Wells Fargo, where Fox 9 News has learned he withdrew $3,000, enough to take him wherever he needs to go. But there may be no escaping his past.
Willie Andrew Johnson had little to say.
It was 20 years ago Willie Johnson helped another inmate escape, a blind killer named Larry Hill. Hill was getting a glass eye replaced at a downtown Minneapolis clinic where Willie was waiting, pulling a gun on the two guards. The manhunt led to Apple Valley and a 34-hour hostage standoff as the pair took Lois Potts and her two children hostage.
Willie Andrew Johnson was instructed by Larry Hill.
This was one of the highest profile crimes that ever occurred in Dakota County.
James Backstrom prosecuted the case back then, which was so high profile it needed a change of venue.
Raped at knife point under threats of death to her children. It was a terrible situation.
In a daring nighttime move, police raided the home, shooting and killing the blind inmate who had a knife to the boy's throat. Johnson got 29 years in prison, serving 2/3 of his sentence. When Willie Johnson got out of Stillwater Prison 6 weeks ago, he came here to 180 degrees, a sex offender halfway house here in Loring Park. He only had to stay here for another 2 weeks. Then he would have been free to move out on his own. But for some reason, he took off early. While in prison, Johnson assaulted a prison guard, but otherwise kept a low profile, had few visitors, got little mail. A former member of the Vice Lord Street Gang, investigators believe he could be heading back to Chicago, where he is said to be friends with Willie Lloyd, the so-called king of the Vice Lords, who claims to have gone legit.
Well, at 67 years old, one would think that perhaps Willie Johnson's life of crime is nearing its end.
Wherever the sharp-dressed fugitive is tonight, the former prosecutor says he's still dangerous.
Why he chose to flee, I don't have any idea.
Willie Johnson is 5'8", weighs 170, sometimes wears glasses. If you see him, don't approach him, call 911. By the way, it's completely legal for inmates to keep a bank account. The money came from work he did inside Stillwater Prison. And that suit, investigators believe it's the only clothes he has, and he may still be wearing it. Tom Lydon, Fox 9 News.
A missing University of St. Thomas student's death is ruled an accident. The medical examiner saying 18-year-old Dan Zamlin drowned in the Mississippi River. Zamlin disappeared after leaving a party April 5th. Workers at the Ford power plant in St. Paul discovered his body weeks later. Tonight on Fox at 10, find out why police are now opening a criminal investigation in connection with this case.
Charges have been filed against a man accused of sexually assaulting a woman at a nail salon. Tony Lamb is facing 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct. Investigators say that back in February, Lamb inappropriately touched a customer at a Minnetonka nail salon where he worked. Lamb reportedly admitted to police that he assaulted the customer, saying he feels like he's crazy and he needs some help. He'll be back in court later this month. A man struck during a suspected hit-and-run incident in St. Paul has died. Samuel Montgomery was found lying in the road at the corner of University and Rice Street last month. He was taken to Regents Hospital and died from his injuries earlier today. Now, investigators believe Montgomery was hit by another vehicle but have not identified it or made any arrests. So if you have any information, you should call the St. Paul Police Department.
Governor Pawlenty says he won't stand in the way of Al Franken being elected to the Senate if the state Supreme Court rules that he should sign the election certificate. The governor making those comments as he appeared on Fox News this afternoon.
I have to follow the law.
Right.
You know, Neil, if the Minnesota Supreme Court says you sign the certificate and there's not an appeal or some other contrary direction from a federal court, you know, that's my duty. I can't just ignore that or say I don't feel like following a directive from the Minnesota Supreme Court. That would not be the responsible thing to do.
Neil Cavuto, the host there, also asking Pawlenty about his rumored presidential ambitions. The governor says he doesn't know his future and is not ruling anything in or out. And you talk about a list. A day after the governor announced he won't run for a third term, more names of people who may try to replace him. An early look at You Decide 2010 is coming up at 9:30.
Well, if you were looking forward to a summer heat wave, you might have to wait until next year. The next few months could be more like spring here in the metro. Fox 9 Ellen Gallis joins us live from Eden Prairie with more on why this summer is shaping up to be a cool one. Stop dashing my hopes.
Yeah, sorry, Robin. And if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then this says it all. I am wearing my coat on a beach in June. Now, it hardly seems fair after such a long, cold winter that we could be in store for a long, chilly summer as well. Arriving at the beach on a June afternoon with a dismal summer forecast sounds like I was kind of the bearer of bad news.
Kind of, yeah.
There's no way to make fast friends.
I don't like it. We like to hang out in the water, and it's hard when it's not so warm.
But don't shoot the messenger. Forecasters are predicting a cool, dry summer this year with temperatures well below average.
Every time I go to like beaches, it's like I always go in the water, which always gets me icicle cold.
For Rachel Gast and 6-year-old Owen, that could put a cramp on their summer plans.
Swim, boating, fishing, camping.
Once the jet stream is in a certain position, it really doesn't want to move.
Fox 9 Chief Meteorologist Ian Leonard says according to the long-range forecast, we could spend a lot of time 7 to 15 degrees below the average daily high for the next several weeks.
The pattern that's a lock right now, the jet stream's to our south. That means we tap into cooler air from Canada. We can't get any of the moisture and the heat from the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, it's going to stay cooler and drier.
But not everyone is complaining.
You know, it's lovely.
At Minnehaha Falls, park-goers at this family reunion reminded us that a cooler, breezier, grayer Minnesota summer comes with some perks.
I don't like the humidity and all the bugs and everything that come with it. With a nice breeze like this, the bugs stay right off you. It's perfect.
Except for this member of the family. A forecast like this is precisely why she relocated to Arizona several years ago.
And I just came out of 105-degree weather 2 days ago.
Now, don't get me wrong, there will be days that will be hot and sticky and climb into the 80s. It's just likely that they will be few and far between. Reporting live in Eden Prairie, Ellen Gallis, Fox 9 News.
All right, Ellen. A serene setting where she is. And, you know, Ian first told us about a cool down a while ago. Plus, we're in the middle of that lengthy dry stretch, nearly a drought.
So we got to find out if there's any good news on either side for the folks who want the rain, the folks who don't want the rain. What's happening over the next couple of days?
There's a little bit of good news. Listen, as you talk about temperatures now, we're talking about average highs in the upper 70s. By mid-June, we talk about average highs near 80. And by mid-July, average highs are near 85. We're nowhere close to those temperatures in the long-range forecast. As Ellen pointed out when we were talking earlier today, she looked like I had dashed her hopes. But yes, the overall trend is for well below average temperatures and below average rainfall. So we're going to stay cool and dry, but not the whole time. I've been promising a one-day warm-up. That's still in the forecast. Been promising a chance of rain. That's also still in the forecast. Bit of a roller coaster. Got it for you here at 9:30.
Okay, see you in just a little bit. In a matter of days, dozens of car dealerships across Minnesota and hundreds nationwide will close. Chrysler and now GM cutting ties, hoping to make their businesses stronger. But that has many in Washington concerned, including Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar. Fox's David Lee Miller has more.
Take a good look at your neighborhood car dealership. It may not be there much longer. Chrysler will close nearly 800 dealers next week. General Motors will follow, shutting more than 2,000 by 2010. Angry business owners drive from Main Street to Washington to ask lawmakers to intervene.
There is absolutely no reason to close profitable dealerships which contribute to Chrysler's bottom line.
General Motors and Chrysler takes my dealership, my customers, and I'm a customer of theirs also, will have to drive an hour to an hour and a half away.
The auto executives say it's a painful but necessary decision to cut back on the number of dealerships.
But we have no choice. We're all being called upon to sacrifice in order to build a stronger, more viable General Motors.
The dealers say the closure process has been unfair. Families in businesses for generations soon will be left holding the bag with unsold parts, tools, and equipment.
No manufacturers ever impose such outrageous terms in dealer-operator agreements.
Sympathy from lawmakers as they try to figure out how to help dealership owners nationwide.
On a nationwide basis, you got nearly 2,000 dealerships. They're closed throughout America, 100,000 jobs at risk.
What's happening here is outrageous.
When mistakes have been made and acknowledged by the auto industry in the past, one would lead one to believe that there could be mistakes made in decisions about which auto dealerships should be terminated.
Chrysler says it has to close dealerships by next week, so it's ready to form a new business with Fiat. The timeline is being governed by bankruptcy court. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Could some of the best athletes on the football field be the ones that are carrying the instruments? Why researchers say being in a marching band provides a great way to stay in shape.
Also, one local teen shows it is never too late to make a difference, how he's helping others in need despite battling a deadly disease.
And one community hopes repair work in their neighborhoods helps them turn around. How you can do it too, even if you're on a tight budget. It's new tonight on Fox at 10.
President Obama meets with the Saudi king on his Mideast trip, hoping to reach out to Muslims.
The signs show his efforts may be working. Fox's Craig Boswell tells us what the two leaders had to say.
President Obama opened his Middle East trip visiting Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah.
I am confident that working together, the United States and Saudi Arabia can make progress on a whole host of issues of mutual interest.
Those issues include the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, rising oil prices, and Iran's nuclear program. The two also discussed the president's speech tomorrow aimed at opening up a better dialogue with the Muslim world.
I thought it was very important to come to the place where Islam began and to seek His Majesty's counsel.
President Obama will deliver his remarks to the world's 1.5 billion Muslims in Cairo, Egypt. Officials say the president will directly address tensions between Muslims and the U.S.
Violent extremism and the threat that it poses and what America has done in response.
The president's arrival in Riyadh today coincided with a new taped message reportedly from Osama bin Laden. Al Jazeera television aired the tape that threatened Americans and criticized President Obama for inflaming hatred of the U.S.
I don't think it's surprising that al-Qaeda would want to shift attention away from the president's historic efforts.
In addition to television broadcasts, President Obama's speech will be webcast and translated in 13 languages. It will also be posted on Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter. At the White House, Craig Boswell, Fox News.
New Hampshire is on its way to becoming the 6th state to legalize gay marriage. Both the State House and Senate have approved the measure. Governor John Lynch is expected to sign the bill. He had threatened to veto it if it didn't allow protections for churches opposed to gay marriage. Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine, Vermont, and Iowa already allow same-sex unions.
Adding a certain spice to your diet just might help boost your brain.
Marnie's here with tonight's daily dose of health news.
The spice in a moment, but first, can't explain that stomachache? Blame the air. Doctors in Canada say air pollution may be responsible for unexplained abdominal pain. They studied more than 100,000 people with nonspecific stomach pains and found the number goes up when air pollution levels are at their highest. A little curry could go a long way when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia. Researchers at Duke say the spice contains a special ingredient, it's called curcumin, that may prevent brain deterioration. So far, they've only tested the theory on animals, but experts say Indian communities that consume a lot of curry in their meals have a surprisingly low incidence of Alzheimer's. If you're thinking of joining the marching band, you better get in shape. A new study shows that people who are in the band have highly choreographed visual shows. They have to carry around a lot of instruments. It's a lot of hard work. So far, they have said that marching in the band is similar to many sports in high school, so get in shape. 95% of an Indiana band studied said they were sore after practice. For all of your health news 24/7, just log on to myfox9.com. Right there at the top of the page, click on our health tab. I'm Marnie Hughes with your daily dose.
All right. Better grab an instrument and start marching, I guess. One local teenager isn't letting a deadly disease slow him down. In fact, He's using the time he still has here on Earth to try and help others.
Scott Wasserman has more on Matthew's way and how it's inspiring everyone around him.
At Blaine High School, the students are counting down the final hours, saying goodbye for the year, looking forward to a fun-filled summer.
Love you.
But just a few miles down the road,
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
the Pafko family is praying for just one more day with 16-year-old Matthew, who has been fighting brain cancer since 2002.
Whenever you ask him how he's feeling, he always says, fine, even though you know that you see that there's pain going on.
Knowing the end was near, Matthew wanted to make a difference. So in December, instead of focusing on his cancer, he turned his attention to raising money for the homeless.
They're like less unfortunate than me, I guess, and they don't have as much as me, and it's good to help them.
Come and get your bracelets. We are helping out Matt Pafko.
At Matthew's high school, his selflessness spread fast.
Thank you. Take one. Thank you.
The Matthews Way bracelets are flying off the table.
5 of them? Thank you so much.
400 sold in just 3 days.
He's so quiet, but he can make a difference by getting people to wear their bracelet and making them think about what a good cause it is.
The money is going to Sharing and Caring Hands. It will be used to buy children clothes and shoes.
This young boy, 16 years old, is going to leave a legacy with the world, an example of what a giving, caring person can do with the last days of their life.
And it's inspired those like Ryan Holmgren. The senior tennis player dedicated his season to Matthew, writing the sophomore's name on his shoes. Matthew's story inspired Ryan all the way to state for the very first time.
When I would get tired and be training upon hours, I'd look down and I'd just see his name, and that really inspired me to know that, I can go through a 4-hour tennis lesson if you can go through cancer and chemo and radiation and anything and still make such an impact.
We love Matthew very much, and we're so proud of him, all of us.
Scott Wasserman, Fox 9 News.
Yeah, we are proud. Word about Matthew's efforts are spreading fast. Fundraisers have taken place not only at Blaine High School, but also Roosevelt Middle School and Champlin Park High. So far, Matthew's helped raise $3,500 for the homeless. Matt, you got a lot of friends out there, and you're inspiring many, many more. Way to go.
Godspeed. Much comfort.
Mob justice leads to a sexual assault suspect's arrest. How it happened.
Also, one robbery victim ends up giving something more valuable than money to one thief.
And how some people think the economy will pick up again if some folks can just see things a little more clearly.
All right, so about 15 minutes ago, we dashed your hopes for a big-time warm-up this summer. I'll get a little bit more specific on that, and we'll talk about one day of warm weather anyway. I've got it for you here in your Weather First forecast at 9:30.
Talk about street justice. A man Philadelphia police say is a person of interest in the rape of an 11-year-old girl is in custody. And that's thanks to some angry neighbors. Look at this. From surveillance video, you can see the group chase down the suspect, then attack him with fists and wooden sticks. They held the man until police arrived. He's lucky because he's in stable condition. In Miami, a medical examiner says nothing short of foul play could have killed the wife of a real estate developer. Prosecutors think the defendant strangled his wife back in 2007. But the defense claims an adverse effect from a spray tan she received the night before might be to blame for her death.
Robert burst into an Ohio gas station carrying an axe, and it's all caught on tape. You could see the axe-wielding man going around threatening customers, demanding money. The police tracked the suspect down by using the video to get a license plate number. Now, they claim the guy's a drug addict, and a recent binge left him needing some cash, which is why he may have robbed the store.
Caught on tape in New York, one robber didn't get any money, but what he did get just might have been worth a lot more.
Well, on surveillance video, you can see a guy came in and tried to rob the place. But the owner pulled out a gun and defended himself, yet he spoke to the man kindly and calmly. That's when the perp dropped to his knees, begged for forgiveness, and asked to convert to Islam, the store owner's religion. He explained he was down on his luck and was just trying to feed his family.
Guy, is starting begging with me. I'm sorry, I have no money. I have no food. My family is hungry for the last whole week.
The store owner put the gun down, gave the robber a loaf of bread, some milk, and $40. He did call the police to report the incident, but he says he doesn't want to press charges. With Governor Pawlenty stepping aside, lots of hats may soon be thrown into the ring. We're going to tell you who are some of the candidates that may be strongly thinking about a run for the governor's mansion.
And the commander-in-chief makes a power list, but he's nowhere near the top. Who outranked him on the most powerful celebrities list?
On Fox 9 News.
Governor Pawlenty is out, and a lot of candidates are now in. Get an early preview of what could be a wild 2010 gubernatorial race.
This morning, when we announced it at 10 a.m., the room erupted in applause.
One company giving workers a unique vacation plan, how they're using it to revitalize themselves and their communities.
Everyone's talking about how dry it has been. We haven't really had a good shot at rain lately. That changes as we get through the weekend, but so does the temperature. I've got it for you in your weather first forecast next.
He may be the most powerful man in the world, but he's not the most powerful celebrity. Who outranks President Obama on the annual list?
Coming to you in high definition, this is Fox 9 News at 9.
And welcome back to the second half hour of Fox 9 News at 9. One day after Governor Pawlenty announced he won't be running for a third term, the race for governor in 2010 is heating up.
Nearly 24 names are already being thrown around. Fox 9's Rob Olson tells us how some are already going public.
For the sake of my integrity, I don't feel that I should be using the position to try to raise money or to try to get delegates.
What Marty Seifert announced is that he's thinking about announcing a run for governor, giving up his position as House Minority Leader, which is very time-consuming, particularly the part about recruiting candidates and raising money for them.
And if you are distracted anyway, even if it's kicking the tires for a run at some other type of office, that is not fair to the membership.
And that makes the 37-year-old Seifert the first Republican in any way.
I will not seek a third term as the governor of the state of Minnesota.
Now that Governor Pawlenty is out, the governor on Fox News Channel today, again non-committal about running for president.
I don't know what the future holds for me, Neil.
But the Republican list to replace him could grow fast.
Oh, at my count last night, there's about 13. And I would guess that when everyone looks at that list of 13, another 13 will say, well, if that person's going to run, then I'm going to try for it too.
Published speculation includes well-known names like Norm Coleman, Jim Ramstad, and Michelle Bachmann, though her aides say it's unlikely. And there's a whole lot of legislators unfamiliar to the general public, but perhaps inspired by the governor's path.
So that's why we have all these legislative candidates, because they think if Tim Pawlenty can do it, so can I.
Earth moved substantially yesterday.
On the DFL side, former House Minority Leader Matt Intenza joined the race in April, one of 4 announced Democratic candidates, and says this shakes things up for his party, too.
Well, the starting gun hit yesterday, because you had the governor who said, I'm out of the way, and so it's clear there's going to be a new leader. And now people are going to start saying, well, who should the new leader be?
Intenza points out that Seifert's decision may set an interesting precedent. While Intenza held a leadership position when he ran for Attorney General, Governor Pawlenty held a leadership position when he first ran for governor. Now, with Seifert's decision not to do both, may make an interesting choice for other legislators along the line. At the Capitol, Rob Olson, Fox 9 News.
As summer approaches, we're all getting ready for severe weather season. Fox 9 offering those weather radios at a pretty good deal, half off, and helping you program. Yep, Ian was there, along with other members of the Fox 9 weather team, at the Rainbow Foods in Savage to help program the radios for folks south of the river. It's amazing we got some video of you actually programming them instead of eating baked goods and drinking freebie coffees and whatnot.
No, today they brought us some fresh cut fruit. I said, does it look like I need fruit? Bring on the fat stuff.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
We had a massive lineup today in Savage. We had folks driving up from Le Sueur and Faribault. It was great.
It was
a real good time. It's nice to get back to, you know, sort of outside the loop. It's those folks that don't mind driving in. So a very successful summer, pseudo-spring weather tour.
You did your community thing. You
There
helped
you go.
folks out.
Yeah.
Earn your halo for today.
And they're still available,
Bravo.
too, at the Rainbows.
That's right. They're available at Rainbow Foods literally through the rest of this month. Last night on Storm Vision Radar, I was showing you the storms, the severe thunderstorms and the severe thunderstorm watches from Indiana through Ohio. This is the reason we talk about weather radios. Overnight damage. Folks, go to bed.
That's so
and all of a
scary.
sudden, these storms are rolling on through. And this is not the way you want to wake up first thing in the morning and say, what in the heck happened? That's why those weather radios are so great. It's like a smoke detector for the weather. It hopefully never goes off. Well, it goes off at my house when I'm cooking, but otherwise, everything else stays pretty good, as long as that weather radio is programmed properly and plugged in. Hey, I want to take you outside, show you the postcard as the sun sets. Sunset tonight at 8:54. Little leftover light, some high, streaming, hazy clouds right now in the mid-60s. Dew points in the low 30s. The problem today, the reason we didn't warm up despite the sunshine and a relatively quiet day, that breeze continuing out of the north. But as we turn the winds, we can finally turn the weather. Here's storm vision. More storms rolling out of Texas and across Indiana and Ohio, across into the mid-Atlantic states here as we work through the next couple of hours. Generally, when you start to look at the overall trend for us, it is this pattern that we have found ourselves locked in with the jet stream running along the Rockies and staying to our south. As the jet stream stays to our south, it allows this cooler air to literally fall out of Canada. The real warm, humid air with all the moisture we so desperately need gets trapped on the southern side of the jet stream. So unfortunately, this pattern is a lock. We'll find a couple of days closer to 80. And one of those days as we roll through tomorrow. Right now, we are clear. Few hazy clouds, but clear of any active weather. This is something we talked about earlier in the show. Some cooler temperatures to come, the overall temperature trend, if you will, the long-range trend. As we get through the next few days, our average highs in the mid to upper 70s. By mid-June, average highs near 80 degrees. And by mid-July, we're in mid-80s. So that's some warm weather. The overall trend, though, was 5 to 10 degrees cooler. And I think some folks will be saying average. Please, just give us some average temperatures. Today, slightly below average. A high of 70, average at 76, record high at 92 degrees. Making weather headlines for you today. I've been promising a one-day warm-up, and it comes as we turn the winds. That one-day warm-up comes tomorrow, sunny and warm. Temperatures bottom out as we roll through this weekend, but with the cooler temperatures also comes some much-needed early week rain chances. All right, here's the overall setup for today. High pressure brought us plenty of clear sky, but that wind continues out of the north and the northwest. Well, that flow will keep us cool, but it will also keep us dry. As we get into the day tomorrow, high pressure moves further to the south. Good news, because this flow will bring us more of a warm wind out of the west and the southwest. A big-time change. A one-day brief warm-up. A generally clear sky tonight, not as cool as we drop down into the upper 40s. Winds already turning out of the west. By the noon hour, mainly sunny, popping our way into the 70s. And then rolling through late tomorrow afternoon, near 80 degrees. We will be breezy once again through the afternoon tomorrow. But there's one word that finally makes its way back into the forecast. And it's warmer as we work through a breezy and warm day tomorrow. Everything changes, though, into the day Friday. More clouds, a slight chance of some thunderstorms. I think I want to pop a word in here, and that's great. The one-day warm-up. As we head through Friday night, a chance of some spotty hit-and-miss thunderstorms. Not everyone's going to get it, and its locations generally to the south and southeast of the metro. Now, look to the weekend. No, these aren't typos. Lower 60s Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Best chance of rain Sunday night through the day on Monday. We are going to turn cooler, well below average, 10 to 15 degrees below average. So it's all about jackets and keeping our fingers crossed that it's also about umbrellas, as we are in dire need of rain. Unjune-like, that was yesterday. Unjune-y? I don't even know how to describe it as you head into the weekend.
Not Juneful.
I like that. That's good.
It's not
Juneful at all.
No, it's not Juneful. Yeah. We're striving to be more June-like around here.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Juneability factor must come through.
Yeah. We're on June right now.
This says T-shirts, State Fair T-shirts. Me and a marker, what it says in the basement.
Yeah.
What was that one he said? Yeah,
on the back it'll say, I gotta poop.
We'll
make some money this year.
It, yeah.
I'll go work on the T-shirts.
Thanks, you. Hundreds of job cuts at John Deere, this time hitting a plant in Iowa. 490 production workers at a factory in Ottumwa being laid off by the end of June. Ottumwa is an hour outside of Iowa City. The remaining jobs, nearly 200, will be eliminated over the next few months. The company is blaming the cuts on a weakened demand for farm machinery.
The timing is not exactly great for a summer hire because a lot of them have already happened, but I certainly would look at a number of the employers and see if there's a few jobs out there.
John Deere has laid off more than 1,000 employees this year.
Free eyeglasses could help boost the global economy. The World Health Organization says billions of dollars are lost every year due to bad vision. So They're spending $26 billion for vision tests and glasses for people around the globe. Poor countries often don't have proper equipment, training, and personnel to provide eyeglasses, so the WHO doing something about it.
Got to see to read.
The 20th anniversary of one of the bloodiest moments in recent history approaches. How some are remembering while others are silencing discussion of the Tiananmen Square protests.
And imagine getting a paid vacation day just to relax and recharge your batteries. Oh! Find out what local company came up with this creative plan to try to save money, then call your boss.
Yeah, and we know it's not here. First, Marnie's here with a look at what we're working on for Fox at 10.
Yeah, Jeff, a family struggle trying to reunite with their loved one, why they fear for their safety, and the problems they're running into with their efforts. Also, the case is closed, but now police open a new criminal investigation into the disappearance of a Metro College student and what may have led up to it. Plus,
we'll show you how one city hopes a home remodeling project will help make over entire neighborhoods. Coming up.